On to our next topic. As mentioned by Tony, in May 2013, Lee Rigby was brutally attacked and killed in an attempted beheading by two men near his military barracks in London. Now, a new intelligence report claims the authorities were not notified that the killer had written of his desire to kill a soldier on a website, later revealed to be Facebook. Critics say the report merely aims to draw fire away from intelligence agencies, while the victim's family says they are holding Facebook partially responsible. Let's take a look now at a report prepared by I-24 News correspondent in London, Jonathan Sacerdoti.
The current round of debate over intrusive surveillance, internet privacy and technical intelligence operations started back in May last year. British soldier Fusilier Lee Rigby was run down by two men in a car and then hacked to death with knives and a meat cleaver, as members of the public watched in shock and horror. This all took place in broad daylight on a public road just outside the Royal Artillery Barracks in Woolwich, southeast London, only yards from a junior school. The two killers, Michael Adebolajo and Michael Adebowale, are British converts to Islam of Nigerian descent. Immediately after the brutal attack, they told passers-by who filmed them that they had killed the British soldier to avenge the killing of Muslims by the British Armed Forces. This week, the Intelligence and Security Committee of Parliament has published its report into what the intelligence agencies knew about those responsible for the murder. While the 192-page report declared that ultimately the British intelligence agencies could not have prevented the murder, many are questioning the failings that have been identified across the board in the run-up to the attack. Both murderers were known to security services. Indeed, the committee refused to comment on the allegation that MI5 had actually been trying to recruit Adebolajo as an agent. Over the last 18 months, the committee considered huge volumes of secret documents supplemented by evidence sessions during which they cross-examined MI5, MI6, GCHQ, police and ministers. Between them, the two terrorists appeared in 7 different agency investigations, mainly as low-level subjects of interest. Adebolajo, though, was under intrusive surveillance at various times between 2009 and 2013, and a final period of surveillance ended on April the 11th, 2013, just over a month before the murder of Lee Rigby. And Adebolajo was permitted to come back to the UK despite his arrest in Kenya for charges of being a member of Al-Shabaab. The report states that there were errors in these operations where processes were not followed, decisions not recorded, or delays encountered. The most controversial part of the report reveals that in December 2012, Adebowale used a foreign online internet service to discuss his plan to kill a British soldier. The report says that his discussion with an Al-Qaeda operative in Yemen detailed his intent to murder a soldier in the most graphic and emotive manner. That online service was not named in the report, but it's being widely reported now that Facebook had previously shut down Adebowale's accounts on the site because he had discussed terrorism. While Facebook detected this extremist content and did shut down his account, the company did not report its concerns to the security services. All of this comes as the British government wishes to introduce a new law granting police new powers to monitor citizens' personal data. Some suggest that the timing of this report and the early leaking of some details of it were designed to bolster support for this new legislation, which has upset campaigners who say that it threatens the privacy of individuals. Prime Minister David Cameron has said that internet companies have a moral duty to act because their networks are being used to plot murder and mayhem. Britain's terror level is currently listed by MI5 as severe. That's the second highest level possible. And concerns remain over the return to this country of Britons who are currently fighting alongside terrorists in Syria and Iraq. Beheadings abroad and at home, the spread of violent extremism, and the increase in smaller-scale 1- or 2-man terror attacks make this controversial debate about monitoring suspects one that the government cannot afford to ignore.
Jonathan is now joining us via Skype from London. Good morning to you, Jonathan.
Good morning, Oded.
So this report, how serious is it?
The report seems, in the view of many, to pass the buck somewhat. So Facebook didn't kill Lee Rigby, and it's worth stating that. MI5, MI6 and GCHQ didn't kill Lee Rigby, but those intelligence agencies did have 6 or more chances to apprehend Adebowale and Adeboladjo, and they failed to. And it seems to many that the government is concentrating more on the issue of whether online services like Facebook should have some sort of obligation to report when they detect some sort of terrorist discussion to the security services. And people are saying that really the government should be focusing instead on the security services and the failings that they inevitably make here and there when they have people under surveillance.
Of course. Now, you said that some people spoke out about Facebook's moral duty to report such matters. But beyond their moral duty, is there what does the law say?
Well, simply, it's very difficult for the law to say anything because Facebook is an American company. Now, Facebook has 1.3 billion users with approximately 1 million posts every minute. Algorithms are used to detect language that might be contravening the rules of the site itself, and quite often people's accounts are closed down, often when they've been flagged by an algorithm, sometimes checked by a human being and sometimes not. They have a data center in Ireland which manages these sorts of things for the entire region of Europe, Middle East and Africa. So you can see that the task would be enormous to spot terrorists, even from direct conversations like the one that we're told took place in this particular instance. However, if they are closing down accounts of people because they are found to be discussing things like terrorism or, in other cases which make the news, child abuse, it is possible that they could pass on the names of those people to the security services, and that's what the committee is asking for. But how they could actually implement this in law is almost impossible, and nobody's specifically saying how they would like to see it done, because it would require law changes in America as well as here in the UK to an extent that I don't think would really be possible.
Right. Now, the atmosphere currently in the UK is certainly moving towards fighting terror also within Britain. Beyond these new laws that are trying to pass, that perhaps will be passed, what can you tell us about the atmosphere in the street regarding this move, this loss of some privacy?
In Britain, people are fiercely protective of their privacy, and they believe that they should be able to discuss with others what they like online, on telephones, without fear of that being intercepted by security services. Of course, there is a necessity for that sort of thing when people are under surveillance, but there is a strong requirement for burdens of proof to show that those people need to be intrusively monitored. And in fact, this report has highlighted around 6 failings where the security services could have prioritized or speeded up requests for closer surveillance of these 2 people. So really, there are enough laws in place, many feel, for this to be carried out as it is. And there doesn't need to be new legislation in order to make it work better. It just needs to be applied better.
I see. Well, we'll, of course, keep following the story. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Thanks.
Still coming up.